We give our power away every time we allow someone or something else to dictate our choices. When we allow influence, because we allow it, right? It doesn't just take over like a demonic force, like any kind of force outside of our control. We allow these things into our presence, into our consciousness, into our stream of decision making. Every time we choose to believe that the choice we're making is outside of our control. The choice that we're making, a lot of times we don't even know that we're being influenced by someone or something else. But it's important to understand that everything in our environment, everything that mirrors in front of us, every person we hang out with, everything we give our attention to is what's feeding our lives. Either consciously or subconsciously, we are making choices every day, every second, that are either aligned with our inherent truth and our inherent power, or we're just puppets of another force. We are tasked with the challenge to recognize these things, to recognize what's coming from the outside, to recognize what is within our control and what is something that we need to get a grip on, something that we may want to change, something that is coming from somewhere else that may be influencing us in such a way that we don't want it, we don't like it. We may be being led in a way that doesn't fit our overall vision and our overall goals and what we really want to see for our lives. And so it takes awareness, it takes dedication to coming back to yourself and coming back to your truth, to make sure that your actions are aligned with who you truly are and not what you're being fed over and over and over. We talk about this all the time here on this channel, making sure that you are in line with your power and your truth and your guidance system when you are making choices in life. Recognizing the power that you have to choose. And I love that we're talking about power here today while I've got this amazing statue behind me of this warrior chief and this other huge statue, huge piece of an ox, just the epitome of strength, the symbolic nature of strength right behind me as I'm coming to you to speak to you today about your inherent strength and power that you have to align your choices with what you really want to see materialize and mirror into your life. What you want to see reflecting. We have this inherent nature to choose. We have this inherent power of eternal sovereignty just by being a human, to become aware of what's around you, what is the energy that is flowing into your life, to pay attention to everything in your environment, the conversations that you're having, the messages coming up on your feed as you're scrolling. We each have the power and the choice to curate all of that. What you're seeing is what you're producing, what you are speaking life into in your world, in your mind's eye. How you are talking to yourself, your internal dialogue, and how that is translating out into the external. All of this can be tailored to the experience you want. This is especially helpful in times when you don't know what to do with your life, and maybe life seems really frustrating, and maybe life is seemingly chaotic. Life is chaos. There's just life in the construction of life and the essence of life and everything that we experience and how life is formed just within its existence is chaos. But our experience doesn't have to be that heavy. We can have peace, we can have whatever we want. You just have to decide, and then make sure that everything that you are consuming reflects that. Everything. When you decide that there's something that you want, there's always a way to get it. Always. There's always a way to get creative and find how you can have the thing that you want. What we have to ask ourselves is how. What we have to recognize is that the only barrier, the only blockage that we come to experience are the ones that we create in our minds through the limits that we perceive to be true. But there's always a way to shift and adjust and to learn new information and to ask better questions to find out how. How can I make this amount of money? How can I save this amount of money? How can I pay off this amount of money? How can I get myself into this room? How can I make myself a qualifier for this new job? How? There's always a way. Ask ChatGPT. Ask your body. Ask your higher source. When you sit in meditation, the answers will come. But there's always a way to come back to the truth of the matter being that you have the power, that you have the space, as long as you have the breath and the life. And it doesn't matter if you're on E, if you have an empty tank, if you can get it to just a little notch further. This knowledge has reflected in my life in a number of ways where I have been able to transform my life personally in my personal journey and experience on this earth. I've been able to transform many times over, realizing that if I don't like something, if I don't like where I am, if I feel as though I've outgrown it, I have the power to change it. It may be tough. It may require that I become a different version of myself, that I may speak and act and believe different thoughts that I didn't believe before in order to get the thing that I want, in order to change the phase that I'm in. When we want to change, when we want to take control, we have to remember that we have every option available to us. There's infinite space and infinite possibility within our imaginations to create whatever we want to see. And we can take that knowledge, take that awareness, take that realization into our work, into the way that we want to move throughout the world. If there's something that needs to be changed, to focus on that and work on it and flower it. What am I saying? And water it until it flowers. To nurture it, to nurture the thing that you want to see grow. And not the things that you don't like. So, taking your attention away from things that you want to die, that you want to not be a part of your experience. If they're causing you to have pain and they're causing you to feel stress and they're causing you all kinds of things that you don't want, stop giving it your attention and see what happens. In my life, I've found my strength in the times when I felt the weakest. I have found my strength in times when I felt like I had none. Those are the places where your inherent power, the power that is always alive by you having life, the power that comes from just having breath, the power of being able to take an inhale and exhale, thus creating new life, new experiences, new space. Because a lot of times that's all it takes. A lot of times that's the place where you have to start, because you don't have the energy to run a mile with your new realization and have the knowledge and the resources and everything that you may feel that you need. A lot of times you just need the idea and you need to take the first step, and then you take another step, and then you take another step. And when you feel like you have a bit more energy toward walking, You have a little bit more confidence. You have more belief in yourself, more faith in the path. You can walk a little faster. And it happens just like that. You may start to jog, you may start to run, and wow, you're here. You're now in this new place. And then it starts all over again. You'll find something else that needs your attention. And you'll find something else that you want to change and take control of. And in each of these moments, we have so much of our own strength and agency that comes from the chorus of our ancestors that give us that push. The strength that comes from a place way outside of yourself, that's way greater than you, that will come and help you once you have decided that you have the power and you have the willingness to be helped. So I want to invite you to take a deep breath in and let all of that air go. And remember that having breath means that you have power, that you have agency, that being alive gives you the power to choose at each and every moment. Because each moment is a moment to decide something new, whether to have something that is going to be good and healthy for you when you're choosing what to eat, or to have something that may be feeding into a craving that represents the old version of you. What would the new version of you want to eat today? What would the new version of you who you would love to be closer to, who you would love to align with, this version of you who has everything you could ever possibly want, what are they doing today? What are they doing right now in this moment? What are they thinking about? What are they excited about? How are they taking care of themselves? How does she approach love? How does she give from her place of abundance, if she is someone who is abundant? Because that's how I like to picture myself. My highest and most grandest self is just dripping and always giving from her overflowing well. But what does that look like for you? I invite you to envision that, if you haven't already, or even if you have, to keep that vision in your mind so that you can align with that version of yourself every day, and to remember that you have the power to choose at every moment, to remember that you have the sovereignty within yourself to make changes if necessary. Curating your feed, curating your music playlist, curating your lifestyle, your workouts, the way that you wake up in the morning, your morning routine, what you're eating, what you're drinking, everything can be in alignment with the life that you really, really want. And that's always changing. It's always something, we're always learning something new. We're always seeing something that sparks some fire within us, that ignites some sort of new motivation. And you say, ooh, that's amazing. I really like that. I want to see if I can fit that into my life somehow. I want to try that. I want to do that. Getting curious about life and curious about everything. Getting curious about life, getting curious about everything that is available to us to experience the most joy and the most camaraderie-ship and community that we can in this life, to grab hold of that and make sure that we don't ever forget that we can pick and choose what we're experiencing in this life. Always. Always, always, always. So I thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video and my words were something that you resonated with. I'm really glad if they did. Please let me know in the comments below if there's something that you were curious about that you would like me to expand upon from my experiences in life and just growing this community. I look forward to hearing more about what's going on your side. And I look forward to exploring more here with you. Until the next video, I will see you then.